Hi, Capricorn. I hope you guys are doing great today. So let's talk about your March astrology, and then I'm going to pull some tarot. I'm going to time sample out for the tarot if you don't want to hang out for the astrology. It's just going to be a Celtic cross spread. I'm going to be doing my regular longer version of tarot in a couple of days for the first week in March, but I just figured I would give you the astrology and kind of like a bonus read. So the time sample will be below for that, and also in the description box below, there's going to be there is a 20% off. Coupon code. It's thank you 333 because I am celebrating my second year anniversary here on YouTube. Can you believe it? So it's been so much fun. Thank you guys so much for your support. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. That would help me out. Anyway, let's get right into things. So we're going to start off with Mars and Aries in your sixth house. So sixth house always works opposite with the 12th house, which is the subconscious. Sixth house has to do with your day-to-day experience, your day-to-day work environment, people you work with and for, but it's also just your day-to-day. And it's also your mental, physical, and emotional health, as well as your small pets. So that's the area that we're talking about. Now, Mars in, I say Mars in Aries, it's Mars in Gemini. This is really going to be very, very profound because we have this energy that has been feeling like it's been shadowed for the month of January and February. And now it's finally going to be out of its shadow in Gemini, which is all about communication, online communication, the written word, anything like that, doing business, signing on the dotted line. We haven't been able to really do that because Mercury's been retrograde. Mercury is going to be out of post shadow by the middle of the month, but at least he's really beginning to move forward in a really nice way. So that's all Gemini stuff. Again, doing business, signing on the bottom line, your short distance travel, just meeting people, communicating with people online as well, right? Now, because the sixth house works with the 12th house, which is the house of the hidden, the subconscious, you might have been feeling the itch to do something different having to do with your work, but you haven't been able to get it off the ground. You haven't been able to really embrace it and get it going on because of all of these energies that it's like, it's almost like everybody showed up at the party, but it's almost like, Spirit came in and said, okay, not yet. And now he's like, all right, come on, everybody. Mercury's out of retrograde. Mars is more positively aspected. And this energy is going to be catapulting all of us in whatever area it's going to be impacting. So again, for you guys, it has to do with your day-to-day work experience or your health. So a lot of you are going to be really motivated to get in shape, really motivated to stop that habit, where in that 12th house, it's the house of self-undoing. It's where addictions hang out. Now you're like, I'm over it. And you're going to do it with a lot more ease and a lot more grace than maybe you would have been able to at any other point, which is really good. So I think that that's very positive for you because I just sense like a certain type of catapulting there, which I think is going to end up serving you really well in that sixth house. And again, maybe just doing some really solid shadow work, deciding to start with a therapist, anything like that, because Mars is the warrior that's all about what is right for you. That's why in tarot, the tower energy is Mars. It's like the lights coming on, and what have you been busying yourself in that doesn't have a strong enough foundation? And where do we, you need to like rip it down and go in and revamp something there because it doesn't serve you the way that it's been. So a lot of you may be deciding to try something new at work, new investments, not so much new investments, but maybe investing in like something new to do in your work for every day. But it just is about feeling very energized to make some changes in your day-to-day experience, which is really, really nice. Also, again, it can indicate a lot of you might be because it's that Mars energy and it's in Gemini, and Gemini rules the internet. So you might actually be meeting like somebody romantic, somebody new at work for sure. It's definitely aspected here as well. So all good stuff. Now on the 4th into the 5th, we have Jupiter and Mercury going to be conjunct in Aquarius, and that's going to be happening in your second house of finance. It's finance, it's also things you value. So your self-respect and your self-love are hanging out in the second house as well. It's ruled by Venus. So that's a Venus that, Venus is a money planet, but it's also love and it's also self-love and self-respect, right? So we have Jupiter, which is all about expansion, very serendipitous circumstances. Jupiter is a very, it is a benefic energy because it's a very fortuitous energy and it's very destiny driven. So something very destiny driven about your house of finances right now that's at play, that's really quite beautiful. And it could be connected to what it is that you're doing in that day-to-day experience with that Mars energy as well. So, and the fact that it's in Gemini, Gemini is the north node of the moon right now. I just was just thinking about that. So anyway, so we have Jupiter there, right, which is all about expansion, and Mercury, which is the ruler of Gemini, communication, doing business, signing on the dotted line, doing all that cool stuff, having to do with what we need to do to make money, as well as Virgo. And Virgo's that sixth house of everything I just indicated, right? It has to do with the sixth house, has to do with your day-to-day experience, but it's also your mental, physical, and emotional health. But the sixth house is also the house of problems. So we solve problems with that energy. So it's what we call the magician is Mercury. Because what is that? It's communicating in order to solve problems, to bring something into fruition. This is like a straight up like magician energy here. So I really like this. It's going to be conjunct, working together, this expansion with this alchemical energy of communicating to make something happen in Aquarius, which is all about the future, doing things differently. Aquarius is a landlord of the 11th house. There's a lot of energy having to do with networking. I just feel like a lot of you are going to be meeting people who are going to be helping you out a lot in this area. So when we're talking about the second house having to do with things you value and your resources, you might be meeting somebody who's going to help you out a lot, having to do with how you make money. This could be anything from a lawyer to uh, colleagues, anybody at all. Now, remember, the second house always works in tandem with the eighth house. The second house and eighth house, that's the money axis. So a lot of you may be in the space of doing things differently for you because something was released in that eighth house. So maybe you got divorced, or maybe you retired, or maybe you dealt with some sort of inheritance that now you're getting the money on, or you got money from some sort of settlement in that eighth house, or some sort of negotiation that went in your favor. So I really like this here. This is very positively aspected for me, for you guys here. Now, moving on, we have March 10th into the 15th. We have the Sun conjunct Venus and Neptune in Pisces. We have to talk about this for a second. Okay, this is a very weird Pisces stellium, I have to say. It really is, because there's a lot of Neptune happening here. Right? So whenever Neptune's in the house, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors in the house, right? So I feel like there are going to be three things happening simultaneously. You're going to be able to tap into the dreamy, sort of very creative and ethereal energy of Pisces and Neptune. That really is that 12th house. Just be careful you don't overdo, because it's also the house of self-undoing, right? But again, we have this going on in your third house. So now so you're going to be very dreamy about possibly people that you meet online, people you're in communication with. You might be really seduced right now by some sort of negotiation or business deal that you are working through in that ninth house, right? Maybe you're working out some kind of business deal. You're planning some sort of long distance travel, maybe with somebody that you met online, right? Anything like that. Very dreamy energy. But at the same time, you're going to be experiencing this beautiful, dreamy, ethereal energy, feeling very hopeful about the future, while feeling like you at the same time need to release something, because it's like you're on the last page of that really good book that is coming to an end. There's a new cycle that's happening. I mean, that's what this season is all about. Something is coming to a culmination in order to be released, so that there could be this new beginning, right? That's what this whole season is about. And so, it's almost like, we often liken it to like the closing credits of a film or the last page of a book, and you feel it coming. You're not there at the end yet. You feel it coming. It's right there. Depending on where you're at, you might be feeling really nervous about it being over, or you might be really excited about it being over. It depends on where you're at. Your energy is going to be unique to you in that way. So you have this dream, but you have this sense that something is about to be released, and it needs to be released in order for you to be able to manifest the dream that you're really looking for. So we have the dream and we have the release, and then we have this third layer, which is going to be this type of anxiety, because we need to release something. And the anxiety really comes in us not knowing if it is really like the right thing to do. Is this the right time? Is this? And the answer is, when Neptune again is there, we don't really know. So the best advice here is enjoy the beautiful feelings, recognize what needs to be released. Don't do anything drastic within these few days. It's only 5 days. I'd always give a couple of days on each side. But just understand that we have the new moon in Pisces coming in that same house. So there is going to be this push to change, even though it's more Pisces energy. It's like this slow movement towards the sun in Aries, which is going to be happening on the 20th. You understand? So you're going to be very dreamy from the 10th to the 15th, feeling these other two layers of release and anxiety. And the anxiety really is about, there is someone in your world that maybe you're communicating with online, that maybe you're communicating with at work, that maybe you're dealing with at school, some, or a situation having to do with your siblings, or a situation having to do with that business circumstance that you're in. And you're just not sure about it. And you're not sure if they're being honest with you as well. That's the thing. I mean, the idea of honesty is really like, you just can't see it. You're just not sure, right? So we have then on March 13th, we have the new moon in Pisces. Okay, so that's also happening in your third house. So this new moon, there's going to be this beautiful illumination, a lot of sort of boiling up energies. That's very Piscean energies, right? So it's like very Pisces, the beautiful manifestation of Pisces energy is going to be front and center for us, which is all about, believe it or not, taking chances, seeing the beauty in things, accepting the imperfections of something is more perfect than we would even realize initially. So it's a very nice energy. It really is. It is about acceptance, though, as well. It's a very sensitive time. We're all going to be feeling very introspective during this energy. There is going to be a very interesting, even if we're feeling this like in an anxiety type of thing, we're not going to be feeling as anxious as we have been, which is really nice. It's almost like, for a couple of weeks, we're all going to have an elevated sense of poise and tolerance about us, which is really kind of nice and going to be welcomed. But understand that there's something coming to light for you in this third and ninth house axis. So it can have to do with some sort of, because the new moon is all about wanting to expand, right? That moon's going to be out of Aquarius, and it's going to be in Pisces. So it's about change and expansion. And it's going to have something to do with either your belief system, with something that you're learning, your belief system having to do with how you communicate, your belief system, maybe even about where you live, because third house is also your neighborhood and your community, like where you live. Also about short distance travel. And then the ninth house is long distance travel. So a lot of you might just be having this incredible realization that you just need to go on a trip. You'd like to go somewhere far, but you just really need to clear your head and just get away from the busyness and the crazy. Very important during Pisces season. I always say to do something kind to recharge your batteries to yourself, because it's a heavy energy mentally, because it's the deepest water sign. It's like, think about an ocean that's got no floor. It's very deep and we don't really know where we stand. And that could be a little kind of confusing, so we're feeling a lot of things, but we're not sure really what it all even means. So this new moon, though, is going to be highlighting these ideas for us, and something that we swore was broken, right, in this third house energy, that sibling relationship that was done forever, that business situation that was dead and done, that communication, that you were having with somebody online, you thought it was done, and right as soon as you thought it was done, you're realizing it's just a little bent. and that maybe you need to redress it, and maybe it deserves another chance. Or you're going to be realizing in the light of this new moon, like, what was I doing? I'm sabotaging myself staying in this thing. I have to get out of this right now. I have to get out of this yesterday. So you're going to be feeling like one on one spectrum or the other. But in that, you're going to be very kind and mindful of your sensitivities and your vulnerabilities, and recognize that whatever you're going through in the moment is actually leveling you up. Because with this new moon energy, we also have Sirius is going to be conjunct Chiron, which is all about healing. And we're all going to be intuitively feeling this moving forward because of how the planets are situated. It's really quite beautiful. So now March 20th, we have the astrological new year. Okay. So this is the equinox, big smile on my face. This is very important in astrology. It's happening kind of early this year. But this is when the sun goes into Aries, right? A lot of people do believe that this is actually when Christ was born. It's, fun fact, have fun with it. For you guys, though, it's happening in your fourth house. So you have a lot of energy happening in your fourth house, actually. You have the equinox happening, and then you have Venus and the sun conjunct in Aries in the fourth. So let's talk about this, because it's going to be like a dynamic between your fourth house of home and the 10th house of career is what I see happening here. So the sun being in Aries is about there's going to be a lot of focus come March 20th on your idea of home, either where you live, who you live with, the people who live in your home, the idea of a home investment, or just your metaphorical understanding of feeling very grounded, rooted, and safe and secure. This could also be something becomes very illuminated, or something new happens in the life of your parents as well. This could certainly be it, especially mother. But I always throw father into the fourth house as well, because I know typically, in classic astrology, it's fifth house is father, fourth house is mother. But I always kind of link them together because the fourth house is the house of early childhood experiences. So a lot of you might be focusing on working through like old trauma in this energy from your childhood. Some of you could be again, dealing with some sort of issue having to do with your parents, or anything having to do with home, or maybe you're working at home, maybe you're starting a home business. This is a really good aspect for that, especially with the 10th house career dynamic there, and it being in Aries, which is about being a leader, and they're being focused, and it being about a new path and a new perspective, a new beginning. So very beautiful aspect for those of you who are a very beautiful transit for those of you who are thinking about starting some sort of new business at home, working from home more seriously, more full time, getting involved in any sort of real estate ventures, really positively aspected there. I like it a lot. Now, on the 24th into the 29th, we have Venus and the sun conjunct in Aries, as I mentioned, again, more fourth house energy with that 10th house dynamic as well. Lots of focus on, again, still for the rest of the month, I feel, this idea of home matters. But this is what's going to happen here, right? Because it's in Aries, more Aries energy. You're just going to feel hell-bent on making some sort of change, and you're not going to be willing to sacrifice what really matters to you. That's what's interesting about the Aries season is very me based, right? It really is. It's very focused on the self, because Aries is naturally associated with the first house. It's the baby of the zodiac. So it's a very me based energy. I want what I want when I want it, how I want it, kind of thing. And that sounds negative, but I mean, that in Aries energy is very like determined like that. And you're going to feel very determined to get what it is that you want in this area of your life, having to do with either a home, working from home, anything that I indicated. And you're just not going to be able to take no for an answer, because it's going to become so glaringly obvious to you that some sort of updating needs to happen here. And the thing is, it's very positively aspected because of Venus. Like, if there were any kind of rough edges that were being experienced because of a situation that you were in regarding home, a business deal surrounding home, anything or working from home, it's going to be smoothed over right now. And you're going to be very focused on how do I feel in this? Is this good for me? Because if it's not good for me, I have to make an adjustment. You're just not willing to stay in anything that's just really, really not resonating with you on a soul level. And then finally, we have on March 28th, we have the full moon in Libra. It's all about balance. Libra rules relationships, right? Well, is the landlord of the seventh house of relationships, which is ruled by Venus. So it's more Venus energy here in this particular full moon. So again, more of this 10th house, fourth house. So the full moon is happening in your 10th house, but the full moon is working with the fourth house here, right? So I'm saying like March for you is a lot about communication, business kind of stuff, as well as home and career. I mean, it's kind of like a little bit of everything for you, Capricorn, to be honest with you. But this full moon in Libra, you're going to become very, very mindful of how fair something is and something isn't, having to do with either that investment, having to do with that dynamic within the house, having to do with that situation with a parent, maybe circumstances regarding your first family. You know, a lot of work is going to be where it's going to be very, very illuminated, and you're not going to be willing to um, sidestep anything. Now, the only thing I want to say here is this, because we have a lot of Aries energy and we do have Mars in Gemini and all of this, because Mars is going to be in Gemini from the 3rd of March until the 23rd of April. You want to be sure that because you're going to be doing a lot of discussing here. There just is. It's going to be a lot of discussion this month. And there's going to be forward movement in the discussion, which is good, which is going to be different than what's been going on. You want to make sure that you are assertive and not aggressive. There's a big difference. You want to be responsive and not reactive. Only it's not going to work well for you. It's just not. You know, if you become too confrontational or too argumentative, right, in these energies. But so that is the general vibe of what's going to be going on astrologically for you guys. So I have to say, I think that stellium is going to be really cool for planning your future. You know, that 10 to 15th that I was saying, you're going to be feeling 3 different things. Allow yourself to go there, allow yourself to dream, because it's in that energy that you're going to be identifying what it is that you really want, you know, in your authentic self. All right, especially because it's working with the 3rd and 9th house dynamic, and that 9th house has to do with your personal philosophy and your moral code and your moral compass and what feels good to you. So you'll be able to visualize and at least crystallize it in your mind's eye. But you might be confused with how to actually make that happen, but that's going to come in Aries season. Okay. So really, really good. So I'm going to drop the screen down. Let's pull some cards. Let's pull some cards. So again, I'm still going to be doing the weekly career, money, relationship reads that I do. Like I always do. I should get them out in a couple of days. I just thought, let's do a nice little Celtic cross spread on what we just read here, having to do with your astrology. Hangman to start. It's working with the 6 of Wands. Very nice. Do the Hermit. Ace of Cups is the foundation. King of Swords in the past. Not surprised there. Queen of Wands in you. Yes. Step into your power. Very nice. Yep, realizing things. Okay, so we have in the recent past, we have the King of Swords. So this is, as an influence, this is you focusing on your minds instead of your heart, right? And just taking charge of circumstances and, you know, just being very pragmatic in whatever it is that you were doing, not allowing your emotions to wash over a situation. Now, right now we have your current situation is the Hangman. Okay, which is Neptune. So surprise, surprise, Capricorn, right? This is just about, you know, you growing, right? And I want to go with that interpretation, because in numerology, the Hangman is connected to the Empress energy. But the key words here are about waiting for wisdom and getting a different perspective, and really looking at the area of sacrifice, and where are you sacrificing yourself? Where are you not allowing yourself to manifest what it is that you really, really want? Now, uh, for those of you in a space of relationships, you might be in a space where you're waiting around for somebody that you're really into to acknowledge you with the same intentions that you have for them, but you're not able to get them to commit, or you might be the one who's unwilling to commit right now. But you might ultimately, deciding like, is this even worth it? Do I feel like waiting? I don't know. If I stay in this, I'm going to end up sacrificing something that I really want for myself. If I end up staying in this, I'm not sure. So it can manifest like that in relationship. Having to do with career or money, things might seem kind of unclear at work right now. And if that's the truth, hold back signing any contracts or any kind of legal matters at all. Things just might be going on that you are not really aware of, but you sort of intuitively vibe right now, which is sort of, guys, was I not talking about this with the third house? With this stellium in there for you? Yeah. So you just might not be totally sure. So, you might end up experiencing delays, but that's okay, because that delay is going to ultimately protect you. So I like that actually for you. Now, if none of those resonate with you, you might be experiencing some kind of delay having to do with your home, right? Having to do, and I'm just saying this because of the weight of the home situation with the fourth and 10th house for you guys. So you might be dealing with some sort of delay having to do with your home, like a sale of a home, or the purchasing of a home, or the remodeling even of a home. That's okay. Just try to find some sort of creative solution to whatever's at hand, and just listen to your intuition here. Listen to what your belly is telling you to do as a solution. Okay, so I do feel like that is making sense to me because of the astrology, but let's see what's complementing that. Beautiful is the Six of Wands. Good. So I feel like this is some of you may be waiting to hear from somebody, regarding some sort of situation that's going on with the hangman energy, right? But this is an energy of deserved success. Great energy if you've been struggling lately. This could also indicate acknowledgement at work, or some sort of business situation that you're trying to get off the ground, which is really good. If this does have to do with relationship, this tells me feelings are going to be shared. There's going to be recognition. Communication can come in that leads to the deepening of a connection. In general, this is good news in any aspect of your life, for whatever, fill in the blank. So the home property thing, life, love, any kind of decision in work, even a really good decision having to do with like maybe you have to make a decision having to do like with school or something like that, anything like that. So we have as the crowning energy, we have the Hermit. So this is Virgo, problem solving energy. So I like this a lot. This is, Mars and Gemini is going to be in your Virgo energy. So let's see the different ways this can manifest. Listen, it's about healing and self-exploration and going within. So in relationship, you might be trying to figure out a way of problem solving, right? Maybe you have to spend more time with your partner and invest more energy to smooth over a situation that you guys have been going through. If you're alone, maybe it's because whatever you were in up to this point wasn't meant for you, and it's time to really do some solid work on yourself. And in doing that, make sure you reflect on situations that you've been in the past, so that you don't repeat them in the future. If this has to do with career or money, it's time to really step back and get a different perspective and analyze, figure out what's not working. You might feel like it's time to try a different approach or a different path. You may very well meet, and I did indicate this in the astrology as well, and this is giving me it again, you may end up meeting like a mentor or some sort of legal specialist, or some person who can be very, very helpful to you at this time. But regardless of how this ends up manifesting, make sure you prioritize your responsibilities well right now. Try not to make any long-term decisions just yet. This is a good energy to consider all the information very, very carefully, but you don't have to pull the trigger, right? And it's exactly what I've been saying to you regarding your astrology. Now we have the fabulous Ace of Cups as the foundation energy. So this is so nice. This is just like love and key emotional events going on for you right now. This is an energy of fertility. So that could also be growth of a business, growth in a job. Some of you may be getting pregnant if you've been in the space of trying. Some of you might be in the space of prioritizing your parenting, just really feeling very connected to your children. Some of you might be in the space of falling in love. Those of you in existing relationships, this is a strengthening the love energy, strengthening of support, really nice. If you're single, excellent energy for spiritual growth, very creative time. Something that matters a lot to you is coming to fruition. So good for you, because you guys certainly deserve it at this point. I really do think that. And I know a lot of you have been doing a lot of work on yourself. And look at this, Queen of Wands, stepping into your power, Pisces and Aries. I love it. Ideas are popping right now. You're going to have the strength and the resolve to make things happen. Just in general, your relationships are going to feel energized. The people who are in your life, really nice energy for sure. You're going to feel very passionate, very motivated, very excited to move forward. Let's check this out. An energy external to you that's impacting you is the Ten of Swords. What an interesting energy to get, and to then have the Queen of Wands. Well, maybe you're feeling motivated by the end of something, as there's a history here. So this could just be a general, energetic influence of there being an ending and the final release of something that, that releases you from a certain level of frustration and stress, even if it's painful. Definitely the end of a challenging era, like amen to that, right, Capricorn? We know that. And so now you can transform into a healthier energy with fresh eyes and a new mindset. So really nice. It's like you're going to just feel very, very ready. So an external energy may have ended something, but at the end of the day, you're realizing, you're like, thank you for doing that. That was like the best thing, because if you didn't end that, I would not be where I am right now. Just like really, you're stepping into your power, even if somebody else has ended something at some point in the past. And if, like, let's say if you were fired, or somebody wanted to dissolve a partner, like a business partnership, you're like in your power, you're ready to go on your own. You're seeing the blessing here, is basically what I want to say. Now we have the Two of Pentacles, which is the challenge. And so this is you having to make a decision between two situations. This is about negotiating. This is your challenge, though, is here. So, you needing to make a decision regarding more than one path. And you could feel this sense of lack in an area. So it could have to do with money, or it can have to do with connection. And you need to decide which pentacle you're going to put down. Like, which one are you going to put down? You're going to stick with that one? You're going to go with that one? What are you going to do? This job, this person, that person, single, in the relationship, wherever you're at. But you're having a hard time making up your mind. And I'm telling you, it's because of Neptune. So let's just blame Uncle Neptune for everything right now. All right. And then we have the Page of Pentacles, and coming into the near future. Really awesome energy. This is the personification of Earth. You guys are an Earth sign, so this is really benefic for you. This is about your talent shining. This is also indicative of money news coming in. Really nice progress. And auspicious beginning regarding finance, business, an offer made on a property. Really good, having to do with education as well. Those of you in that space, meeting a really healthy mental, physical, or emotional connection. Just pay attention to the finances. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. That's not a negative comment. It's just pay attention, only because it's like something comes in, but the page energy in and of itself is very immature. And can make silly decisions. So just, be mindful of that. Now, as the final outcome energy, we have the Four of Cups. So the Four of Cups is restless and bored and apathetic. So those of you who are single, you might be in this space where you're just feeling disillusioned about relationship in general. And you're just like, you might be in the space where, like you're in your power, you're really working on yourself and all of that. But then here you're just like, I don't know, I'm working on all these areas in my life. Am I ever really going to meet anybody at the end of the day who I really feel connected with, who I feel like is the right one? And I call this like the checklist card, because in order for me to be with somebody, they have to have this, this, and this, and then they have to have that, that, and that, because I've been through a lot in relationship, right, Capricorn? This is you saying to yourself, and you just aren't willing to subject yourself to any kind of nonsense anymore, right? But now the thing here is, whenever we place those restrictions on relationship, it's totally understandable. It's part of the human condition that we do that. But this does indicate the need to heal some sort of past wound that's not healed yet, 100%, and that's not to say you can't still date. That's silly. But, you're going to be in that space of feeling kind of many of you just sort of disillusioned by the whole process. Those of you who are in relationship, you may need to spice things up right now. Things might be a little bored here. You need to spice it up. You may be feeling rather apathetic if it has to do with relationship. But a lot of you may be feeling that sense of apathy and disillusionment having to do with your career. And just like, you know what? Yeah, now what? Now what? I just kind of want to do something different. So you're not making the changes yet, and you're really kind of in this space where it's like, I really hope it happens soon, because I'm feeling very bored and very just sort of wanting to not do what I'm doing anymore. A personal issue reaches resolution. Wow, this is really good. I love that card. Full moon in Cancer. Cancer is that fourth house, right? And we were talking about all of this. So there is going to be this culmination, this having to do with where you live, who you live with, right? This house career dynamic kind of thing. So some sort of personal issue is going to reach a resolution in this energy. So listen, I am not mad at all at this reading for you. I hope you resonate with it, because it's a good one. All right, my friends, that is what I have for you. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys next time. Until then, you guys take care now. Bye-bye.